Slowly opening his eyes, he saw only the lamps in the operating room, which were shining so brightly that it was hard to open his eyes. He grabbed his head because his head hurt so much. The guy didn't realize where he was, even assumed he had traveled through time. It was an operating room. He didn't understand why he was there and what the incomprehensible feeling of emptiness was inside him. It seemed that if you worked too hard, you could get an emptiness inside. Some inappropriate thoughts at the moment. His gaze drops to something nearby, then he notices the scalpel. Then he finally turns his attention and notices the numerous stitches. It looks like they cut out his kidneys. He calls for help and asks to call the police and make a complaint against them. He still needs to find his kidneys and regain his strength. But the strength was only enough to stand up, and then the guy falls to the floor without strength. Two doctors appear. One wonders to the other, shouldn't they have only taken the kidneys from the patient? But Dr. Lin replies that the situation is bad and kidney prices have dropped a lot, so they said the doctors can take whatever they can. They're going to gut the guy. The poor guy is lying on the floor and reaching for his phone. His mind is too fuzzy from the anesthesia. All he can think about are the cold words flying out of the doctors' mouths, with their temperature at 36 whole and 7/10 degrees. He also doesn't understand how he's still alive. When he picks up his phone, all he finds on it is some kind of game. He's about to die, and they're slipping him some game and won't let him make a call. This only makes the guy sad, and he realizes that his life is over. He's getting weaker. It looks like the wounds opened up. It seems he has even started to see his great-grandmother, how he doesn't want to die. Seeing his great-grandmother's smile and app, he doesn't have much choice. So he decides to give the app one last try. It's some kind of game called World of Wishes. So he clicks on the game icon and starts. Suddenly, a rather creepy picture appears in front of his eyes, and he is asked what his forbidden wish is. Dark figures open a coffin in which lies a withered woman. Death is unable to keep the desire away. Life cannot be stopped. From the woman's body, red threads manifest like blood vessels. On these threads hang bells. The guy is incredibly frightened by what he sees and doesn't understand what the hell is happening in front of him. Then a message appears on his phone saying that he will listen to God's blessing, and all he has to do is say yes. It's like signing a contract. The guy doesn't hesitate to press yes. He wants to live, he wants his kidneys to come back, and he regains his strength. Suddenly a seal appears, and someone with fangs and glowing eyes looked into his soul. After that, the guy woke up in the wishing world. He still didn't really understand what was happening to him. Was he caught up in some kind of game? It was good news to him that he was alive. However, after checking the place where the blood had been oozing from a while ago, he noticed the bad news. His organs were really gone. Everything was shrouded in fog, but from somewhere like someone's evil eyes, a light appeared. However, it turned out to be only a bus. When he looked in the other direction, he noticed some beauty in black silks. However, when the girl came closer and the light illuminated her face, he didn't think of her that way anymore. He only sighed and declared that he would take it back. She was just an ordinary girl in tights. But the girl was still looking at him questioningly for some reason, which made him assume that he seemed like he was supposed to be scared by the rules. The protagonist only exclaims that he has a void in his body instead of organs, so he has nothing to lose. He can't even lose his dignity because it no longer exists. And can this girl really kill him, already a dead man? The guy seems completely out of his mind. He even laughs because when he thinks about it, his empty chest gets wider. The girl wonders what the guy is talking about. Suddenly she invites the guy to get on the bus with her ethereal voice. When the bus doors open, a powerful red aura sweeps through. The guy agrees to see what's going on here. It seems he's still under anesthesia and all the recent events that happened to him are weighing heavily on his mind. So he smiles like a fool and thinks that the girl told the young gentleman to please get on the bus. The girl still doesn't understand what is even going on here. But the guy thinks she didn't hear and repeats that she told the young gentleman to please get on the bus. The girl is finally furious. Her face cracks. She shows her teeth and lets out a monstrously frightening scream. However, this did not scare the guy in the slightest, because there were no more organs left in his body. So did she really think she could scare him with her grimaces? So he attacks the monster, and then insists again that she politely invite him, her master, to get on the bus. The girl admits that she was too careless and therefore didn't dodge in time, but the guy again insists that she politely invite him, her master, to get on the bus. The girl clenches her teeth from the anger that has come over her. However, she finally gives in and says the cherished words, but in her own way. She calls the guy little instead of gentleman and asks him politely to get on the bus. The guy is fine with this option as well. Apparently his life has been too hard. As he walks through the door of the bus, he is suddenly wearing decent clothes. He's pretty happy that he's even dressed up. It was at this point that the gears of fate began their movement. The only thing that upset the guy was that the bus was somehow shabby, and everyone was sitting with some upset and creepy faces. When he saw a vacant seat next to a beautiful girl, he didn't hesitate to sit down next to her and asked what the girl's name was. A strange girl from the street followed the guy into the bus. She welcomes everyone to the world of desire and asks them to heed the whisper of a god. The protagonist only sighs sadly at this situation. The strange girl shows an even creepier grimace on her face and informs him that the god says that the test of all the bus passengers starts right now. At the same time, in reality, in an abandoned factory, it seems Dr. Lin has delivered some sort of mysterious cargo. A woman who just arrived by car wonders if he's taken everything. And when the doctor tells her not to worry and that he did everything himself, she thanks him for his work. He asks the woman to come to him again next time, but in the next instant, the nasty doctor is dead. The woman tells him not to do anything stupid next time. Then the mysterious woman opens a container and there is someone's heart. The woman doesn't seem to be human, as a huge tongue comes out of her mouth and she licks the heart. It seems to be her favorite treat. She hears the whispers of the gods. Meanwhile, inside the wishing world on the bus, the creepy girl on the bus announces that the passenger's first challenge is called elimination. She states that the task is quite simple, that in 10 minutes the bus will be traveling over an old bridge. But the bridge is too old and dilapidated from all that time, so it won't be able to support the weight of all the passengers on the bus. And if the bridge collapses and the bus falls, everyone on the bus will die. However, if just one person gets off the bus, then they will be able to pass over the bridge safely. Also, that the passengers can vote and choose who leaves the bus. Or they can force someone to get off the bus. All these words horrify many passengers and they start to panic. The creepy girl also adds that only those who pass the final test will be able to fulfill their wishes, and then informs that there are 5 minutes left to the bridge. One of the passengers wonders what will happen to whoever gets off the bus, and the girl with a creepy grimace informs that he will die. The protagonist thinks that death is not really that scary, and the scariest part is the phone, which it seems he didn't have time to format before he died. He doesn't even realize if he's dead or not. One pregnant girl asks not to be kicked out as her baby hasn't been born yet, so she can't die now. All the passengers are swept up in a flash with a desperate desire to save themselves. One admits he has cancer. Another has a son in intensive care, so he can't leave the bus. A third reports that his father is a firefighter and he got hurt badly when he was helping people, so the guy has to save him. All the passengers started to share their problems. The protagonist only thinks what kind of jesting arguments everyone has, and that compared to the others, his desire to get his organs back does not seem so trivial. A man with glasses and unshaven hair brings up the voting issue again. As time is limited, he decides to be sensible and eliminate the weakest contestant. So he votes for the pregnant woman. Many people pick up on this because everyone wants to be saved and only one person is needed. After all, this is a test. It remains to be seen what lies ahead for everyone. The girl cries from helplessness. She does not understand how they can do this to her because she is pregnant and whether the other passengers are people at all, since they do this. But all her pathetic attempts are cut short because this is a world of desires. All passengers have desires that they want to fulfill. If the girl thinks they are cruel, then what does she think of herself? After all, she gets to use her pregnancy to morally blackmail the other passengers, forcing others to die in her place. Isn't she cruel then too? The girl just cries in helplessness. The others are like a pack of street dogs, pouncing on the girl and supporting the decision to throw her off the bus. The girl begs not to be thrown out, but the others have already taken her under their arms and are trying to throw her off the bus. The creepy girl asks the others to decide faster, as they are almost there. However, the whole creepy smile thing doesn't really endear the guy to her. After all, the creepy girl looks like she's practically achieved her goal. He thinks it's some kind of devious plan, but the girl is already being thrown off the bus. However, at the last moment, the protagonist manages to grab the girl's hand and pulls her back onto the bus. He wonders if they shouldn't vote first, and that he hasn't actually voted yet. The others only informed him that his vote didn't matter since it was a general decision. Or maybe the guy just wanted to die instead of the girl and get off the bus himself. But the guy just boringly informs the others that they were wrong all along. Well, the guy needs to explain to everyone so they understand. The creepy girl said that someone has to leave the bus, but she didn't say it had to be any of the passengers, did she? But the creepy girl realized that it looks like her plan has been foiled, so she makes one last lunge. She says that the bridge is less than a minute away and they must kick out the first girl or everyone here will die. The protagonist notices that the creepy girl is in a panic, which means everything is right, he thought. The man with the glasses says it's the guy's test, but not his. But the protagonist advises him to think twice because the man in glasses claimed it was all for the team. So he vocalizes that it is necessary to exclude someone who is not the team. So it's time to get rid of the creepy girl and everyone else will stay on the team, and asks if the others agree or if they are against this, going, "This news made everyone very happy. After all, if they get rid of the NPCs, they won't have to kill anyone. How did they not realize this before?" And by a vote, they decide to throw the creepy girl off the bus. She even got all shook up. The main character asks the princess to leave the bus. The creepy girl declares that they can't force her off the bus. But the guy disappointedly reminds her that when he got on the bus, he slapped her. But the creepy girl didn't do anything to him for that prank. It turns out, if he assumed correctly, the reason is because of the rules of the game. Creepy girl can't seem to hurt the passengers. She is infuriated by the guy's words. She thinks he's insolent and tries to pounce on him. But the guy easily stops her and doesn't understand how such a brat can even be on the same bus with him, and then kicks the creepy girl off the bus just as they've just pulled onto the bridge. A voice on the bus announces that the next stop is Weeping Dusk. The man with glasses sighs in relief. Looks like they passed the first test. The other guy is relieved too, and thinks about how he should have thrown her off the bus from the beginning. Another man is already, after all, doesn't understand how a pregnant woman can be forced to go to certain death. But then all of a sudden, the guy's hand glows a golden color. It looked like he had been given the loot from the creepy girl in his hand. Phrases came into his head. "Boy, get on the bus, and you can get the power of evil spirits." And the phrase repeated. The protagonist didn't even realize what it was now. Evil spirits card. Boy, get on the bus, and you can get the power of evil spirits. Apparently that thing in his hands, which resembles a talisman, looks like an item of summoning. Even after that, he thinks none of this matters, because his life has always been filled with danger. So even such a gruesome trophy, it's the result of his accumulated virtue, and he deserves it. Suddenly, the whole bus shook like an earthquake, and the bus stopped. People don't understand what happened. Only the protagonist realizes that the second trial has begun. The bus stopped at the gate of some building, which at first glance was abandoned. When everyone leaves the bus after the protagonist, the pregnant girl suddenly discovers something under her feet. It turns out to be a doll whose face was significantly cracked, and instead of the usual limbs, they were metal. Meanwhile, in the real world, some girl is sitting in front of a mirror and doesn't understand why all this is happening to her. She had a chance to regain her former appearance, but that bastard stopped her. I think we can all guess who it is. She wishes the guy was dead, wishes he was dead, and keeps repeating it. The pregnant girl gets scared of the doll because it looks like there's a ghost in there. The protagonist comes over and kicks the doll aside and advises no one to touch it. He then says that it's just a rag doll. He takes matters into his own hands and commands everyone who was sitting in the back to get up one by one and get out without pushing. After a while, finally, everyone managed to leave the bus. And as soon as everyone left the bus, it immediately drove off. The pretty girl is as frightening as the others. She doesn't understand how they will get out if the bus leaves. The man with the glasses, not reassuring at all with his words that they don't know if they can get out alive yet, which scares the other guy because they could die here. Everyone found the place they arrived at creepy. No one wants to die here. Another beautiful girl comes out of the building and tells them that she is the director and then orders everyone to follow her. She informs them that they have arrived just in time because the old people are already hungry. It all sounds strange. A beautiful girl with a fright grabs the protagonist's hand. He even blushes and tries to calm the girl, saying that it's normal to be afraid and that she has no reason to be so nervous. But when he looked at the ceiling, he was a little surprised because it looked like she was scared. There were hands and feet everywhere on the ceiling. The director informs him that each of the newcomers will be in charge of 3 rooms. On the door, they will find the instructions the children left behind. and also advises them to remember that to take care of the old people, they will follow the instructions clearly. And they hear creepy voices about how delicious the food is and how someone is hungry. The director informs them that if anyone breaks the rules, the consequences will not be long in coming. She informs that on the first floor, there is a communal kitchen in the extreme corner, and each room has its own restrooms. Everyone here is in a special situation, so are obliged to remember what she told them. So they reached the lobby of the nursing home under instructions. Here, the director took out sheets from her robe and told them that here was the assignment for the new arrivals and that they should start immediately, because they were already waiting for them. She also strongly recommends that as soon as it gets dark, everyone should stay in their rooms and not go out. And at night, she recommends that everyone not sleep too soundly and be vigilant. I wonder what will happen next in this story. Wang Ming complains that the director has told them so much, but hasn't even said a word about the salary. He was sent to deliver food to the elderly in room 203. There was a note stuck on the door of the room that the owner of the room was dumb, irritable, dirty, and useless. However, the only thing that bothers the guy is why there is no word on the fact that the volunteers will be paid. First, he had to go to the kitchen. According to his memory, the kitchen was on the first floor. As he walked down the dark hallway, creepy voices came from everywhere. These voices only talked about food, how good it tasted or smelled, and how they wanted more. The guy immediately savvy that in this ordeal, if they didn't take proper care of the old people, they would have a hard time. One guy was watching Liu prepare a meal and asked what he was doing. When the man with glasses didn't understand what the reason was, the man explained that he was misunderstood. He is from a new Oriental cooking school and can help cook anything. Looking at the food, Wang Ming decided to put all his thoughts aside, as it was now necessary to cook a well-done steak for the old man. The guy didn't stop. He wondered Liu if he had seen that there was blood flowing from under the door of room 101. Liu knew about it too. Since the task was to clean the room, it looked like someone had been eaten there. While Wang Ming was preparing the food, Liu asked the man to fry some meat for him and add more chili peppers, since the lady he is in charge of likes spicy things. This is not the first time Liu has encountered the world of desire, but each trial in this world is not like the previous one, so it becomes more and more difficult to avoid danger. At this time, Wang Ming is focused on food. After all, if you fry meat until golden on both sides, even the neighbor boy will drool. However, Liu would like to warn everyone that no matter whether it is a wish or a dream, if one manages to reach the end, he does not advise trying to raise the dead. The rest of us wonder why it shouldn't be done. Then Liu remarks that the dead can't come back to life. People can't be sure that the person they resurrect will remain the same as before. The man wonders that then, when trying to resurrect, it will only be a ghost. Liu notes that it's hard to say exactly what will happen, but one thing he knows for sure is that it won't be a person. Meanwhile, Wang Ming has finally prepared a meal for the old man entrusted to him. Liu, on the other hand, continues that only those who are close to death, or those whose desires are extremely, enter the wish world. He knows it will be hard for the rest of the participants to understand now, but he is obligated to say it. When the desire completely consumes them, death will seem like a relief. Wang Ming also thought carefully about these words. After a while, Wang Ming arrived at room 203. He knocked on the door and said that he had come to deliver food. However, after waiting for a few moments, he didn't hear anything. He then loudly announced that since no one was answering the door, he would come in himself. When he opened the door, he found himself in a rather gloomy room with a bed near the window. On the bed sat a completely withered old man. As soon as Wang Ming put the plate of food on the chair, the old man seemed to come to life and got up from the bed. Walking over to the table, the old man sniffed the food Wang Ming had just brought him. Then he pounced on the food like an animal, as if he hadn't been fed for a long time. Wang Ming advised the old man to take his time, as he might choke on it. Wang Ming even thought for a moment that this time he had gotten a simple task. He was even happy that he had hit the jackpot. However, at the same moment, the old man pierced his hand into the guy's chest. The old man's face instantly changed and now looked like a frightening monster, and he wailed about the disgusting food he had been brought. Wang Ming yelled at the old man. If the old man didn't like the steak, he should have said so, and then Wang Ming would replace it with intestines. Also, Wang Ming doesn't like the old man's hand on his heart right away. The guy complains that the old man has no manners. However, the old man was fabulously surprised. He started to go around the guy's insides in a haste, but there was nothing there. The old man was amazed how the kid couldn't have any internal organs. The old man was desperately trying to find anything, but Wang Ming thought that the old man was just deaf. The old man, on the other hand, wondered if the person in front of him was even a human. Wang Ming was getting annoyed that the old man was so persistent. He couldn't even think that even after death, the old man would remain empty. No matter whether he was alive or dead, everyone wanted a piece of him for some reason. Wang Ming is directly angry. Is he really Hello Kitty to the old man and the others? Wang Ming is annoyed that the old man is being picky. He grabs the old man's head and slams it against the floor. He resents the old man picking at the food he gave him. Wang Ming slams the old man to the floor again and asks him if he is going to eat his food. The guy is incredibly outraged by all the old man's actions. Did the old man really think that he would put up with all the old man's antics? He even wonders why the old man is still not asking for mercy. The old man tries to say something, but it sounds inaudible. Wang Ming absolutely does not understand a word of what the old man wanted to say to him. Suddenly, a girl comes into the room. She wanted the guy to help her. What the girl found in the room shocked her incredibly. Wang Ming dealt harshly with the old man. All the walls of the room were stained with blood, and the girl only looked at Wang Ming sitting beside the old man in shock. The girl was speechless after seeing all of this. When Wang Ming turned to the side of the girl, her legs couldn't hold up due to fear, and she fell to the floor. Grabbing the old man, Wang Ming complains that the assignment says to take care of the old man. But for some reason, the guy wants to crush the old man's head. A frightening aura is hovering around the guy like this. While Wang Ming was holding the old man's hair, the old man was muttering something inaudible. The evil spirit was whispering to the guy to kill the old man. Suddenly, the evil spirit seemed to vaporize, much to the guy's puzzlement. Wang Ming complained that the evil spirit only lasted for 3 minutes, and what a weakling he was. However, he wasn't upset and decided to use the card again and summon the evil spirit again. He even got into a victory pose. At this moment, the stupid guy's head was struck by the realization that at least 3 hours should pass between summoning the evil spirit. His face covered in cold sweat, and he began to complain that it took too long to roll back the ability. Wang Ming reaches out his hand to the old man and decides to explain to the old man that everything that happened earlier was a misunderstanding. Suddenly, the old man transformed back to his original state and once again mumbled something inaudible. Wang Ming was surprised that the old man had returned to his original state. He even thought that perhaps it was because he had frightened the old man. With a threatening aura, Wang Ming moved towards the old man and asked if he would eat his food or not. The old man got all shook up, and with a noticeable leap, he grabbed whatever was in the plate and started shoving it into his mouth. The guy even praised the old man. However, Wang Ming notes that the evil spirit card seems to be able to influence a person's mind. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such crazy thoughts, such as wanting to split someone's head open. He doesn't know what will happen next, and so he decides to keep the card as a trump card and not tell anyone about it. The guy grabs the pregnant woman and tries to drag her inside the room. Suddenly, the girl opens her eyes, and the first thing that greets her is Wang Ming's face behind her back. Wang Ming tries to pull the pregnant woman into the room, but the woman is terrified and asks for someone to help her. However, Wang Ming covers her mouth with her hand and asks her not to be afraid and to listen to him carefully. Wang Ming tells her a great story and confesses that he is actually from the government. He reminds her that some things are better kept secret. Still gagging her, he informs the woman that he is a good man, so he is counting on the woman's silence. The pregnant woman has figured it all out and informs him that she won't say anything to anyone. As it happens, goodness is repaid with goodness, so the guy wonders if the woman needs help. The woman begs the guy to help. She agrees to do anything the guy asks as long as he helps her. Wang Ming isn't that risky. He remembers that this place is pretty dangerous and he can't use the evil spirits card right now, so he needs to be careful. The guy agrees to help in any way he can, but he doesn't want to promise anything, and he doesn't intend to risk his life. The woman is all in tears. She is grateful and on it. Wang Ming then wonders what her assignment is and asks her to tell him. The woman tells him that her assignment is to wash the old man's back. Afterward, she begins her story. An hour later in the lobby was incredibly crowded. People were complaining about the assignment. One told how a crazy grandmother didn't like the way he cleaned up and bit off his ear. Another man needed to massage an old man's back, but she was covered in pus. Another man complained that if he hadn't run away quickly, he would have been eaten for sure. The people were amazed at such an ordeal. Suddenly, Liu came out in front of them and shocked everyone with his appearance. People wondered if he was all right. Liu hurriedly reassured them that the old woman had bitten off his leg, but at least he was still alive. The trial had just started, and already so many people had already died. Suddenly, people remembered the rude guy from the bus and they wondered where he was. Someone assumed that he had died already too. Suddenly, the principal came out and yelled at people while they were all crowded in the lobby. There was blood all over her clothes and she was wiping the blood off her face. The principal asked if they had completed their assignments. Everyone immediately noticed the principal's appearance and assumed that she had eaten someone too. One guy wondered to her what would happen if they didn't finish their assignments. Will they really all be eaten? He doesn't understand how the assignment can even be completed. But the principal disappointedly informs him that even if they don't finish the task, it doesn't matter. Licking her lips, the woman informs him that the volunteers are so-so workers, but their taste is definitely excellent. People are shocked. How can a person say such a thing? The director didn't look like a human being at all. Suddenly, Wang Ming and the pregnant woman caught the principal's attention. She wondered what they were up to. The guy sarcastically notes in his thoughts that they are gathering information, but certainly not admiring the principal. Out loud, however, the guy starts sucking up to the principal. He says that he only came to see the principal. Wang Ming notes that the beauty of the principal had them so enamored that they couldn't move. But now everything is fine. The pregnant woman was surprised because it seems the guy was really from the government, so he wasn't picky at all. The director is happy to hear that. She notices that the guy has a tongue. The director says that she is only here to remind her that if anyone fails to do their assignments or gets complaints, she will have to act according to the rules. It was still 2 hours until dark, so the principal recommended that those who hadn't completed their assignments yet should hurry up and not keep the old people waiting. After that, the principal leaned over to Wang Ming's ear and informed him that she would find him tonight. Wang Ming is upset by this turn of events. He didn't mean what he said, and the principal believed his words. He even wonders if he set off some mechanisms with his speech. He doesn't want to be the rider of an evil spirit. When the director left, many people rushed to the guy. They asked him that since he wasn't hurt, he had completed his task. Wang Ming just waved him off, saying that he was just lucky. Other people were surprised by his luck. They thought that the guy had accomplished his task quite easily. Everyone wondered if the guy had noticed any game mechanisms that made it easier to get through, and if so, they asked to share that information. Liu, as always, is at the forefront here. He reminds them that at the end of the day, they are all human and should help each other out. People start to press Wang Ming's pity. After all, he saved a pregnant woman, which means he shouldn't just stand by and watch the rest of the people die. The man wonders what Wang Ming has learned, since there are only 2 hours left, and he asks to tell them. Wang Ming easily notices that the man in the suit is really good at manipulation. He remembered how the man had brought Wang Ming to the forefront last time in the same situation with Yun Li. People had already started to actively push the guy through, stating that he shouldn't be so selfish. After all, this was everyone's concern. Wang Ming is not made of the same mold, so he immediately stops these attempts and tells everyone to shut up. He even declares that he hates moral blackmail more than anything else. He then grabs the pregnant woman by the arm and is about to leave, as people have no leads. Liu stands his ground and is not about to give up. He states that even though he doesn't have any leads, doesn't the brute want to know more about the wish world? Apparently this information seems to be valuable as Wang Ming stops. He asks Liu if he is willing to share the information. Liu informs him that he is willing to tell Wang Ming about the last time he was a wish world. In return, he asks that Wang Ming tell what he has learned. Liu notes that this is very valuable information, and it will help Wang Ming fulfill his wish. Liu knows how to get his way. He's a skillful manipulator. He states that it was during his last game that he saw the true essence of the wish world. I wonder what the essence of the wish world Liu saw. Will this prove to be useful information, or is Liu lying to save his life? After that, Liu started his story, and a lot of people can be seen kicking and beating him with a bat. The leader of the attackers informed Liu that this is just a reminder for now, but if Liu doesn't pay in the next one, he will have his leg broken. His name is Liu Jiangui. Because of his addiction to gambling, he owed a large sum of money at a high interest rate. The debt collectors often beat him to a pulp. On one such day, he saw a phone with a mysterious offer. Later, he entered the wish world and underwent tests. At that time, his greatest wish was for money. He wanted 1 million. When he returned to the real world, his wish actually came true. Suddenly, Liu's phone received an alert that a payment of 1 million yuan had been deposited into his bank account, which shocked Liu. But as it turned out, it wasn't that simple. Because his father fell from the construction site where he was working and fell into a coma, Liu was actually compensated exactly 1 million yuan. His wish had actually come true. But at what cost? The price for the fulfillment of his wish was his father. Liu even reports that his father is still lying in the hospital. Because of his wish, his father had fallen into a coma. Even now it was upsetting Liu. From this story, Wang Ming emphasized the main point. Apparently, the wish is not just magically granted, but realized in some reasonable way. Wang Ming's wish is to get his organs back. This could also mean that he might get rotten organs. Also, some kind of accident could happen, and it would take the organs away from the person to whom they were transplanted. Wang Ming concludes that in granting his wish, he must try to avoid dire consequences. Liu desperately asks Wang Ming for help. Each of the people who arrived are responsible for 3 wards. Liu lost his leg back in the first one, that's why he is asking for help. Wang Ming doesn't think that just beating up an old man, like in his case, will work. If he tells Liu about this method, it will only lead to Liu's death. Wang Ming eventually admits that, as he said, he really didn't learn anything about this game. Wang Ming grabs the pregnant woman by the hand, wishes everyone good luck, and leaves. Liu tries desperately to cling to his life, but he can't catch up to the guy. Wang Ming decides that the best option is to return to the ward, interrogate the old man, and try to get some clues. I wonder what clues Wang Ming will get, and if he will return Liu's debt, or if Liu will be eaten by then. And that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you would like to see a sequel, please like, subscribe to the channel, and leave your wishes in the comments. You can also subscribe to Telegram to know about new videos. Bye everybody.